Appreciate y'all being here to cover our game. Awesome win for our guys. A lot of build up to the game in a lot of different ways. Good effort by us. Not our best football still. We still have a lot of improvement left. I thought we really played sloppy kind of in the middle eight of the game. The last 4 minutes before the half and the first 4 minutes of the second half I thought weren't real clean. Didn't like that we had another fumble tonight. That's frustrating. But the way we started the game, I really appreciate. I thought our guys came out focused much better than last week and dialed in. It's good to be 3-0. We'll celebrate the hell out of this tonight. I can promise you that. But then tomorrow morning we'll wake up and go back to work because it gets really easy. We have Ole Miss next week. So, it's like, I don't know. David Harris is in the room. He didn't make the schedule. I think it's Troy Dannon did. So I might send him a care package. But with that, I'll open up to questions.
You mentioned celebrating this win. I mean, just how emotional maybe was this game, and how proud were you maybe of the start that your team had to kind of set the tone?
Well, I talked to our guys this morning about, they're all emotional in football. Like football, and I love and respect every sport, but football, you have a game every week, and like Jay Ullman's one of my favorite people in the world, our baseball coach. Jay and I are very close. I love Ron Hunter. Those guys play like multiple games a week. It's like, hey, you lose one on Tuesday, we got one on Friday or whatever. Football, you got one every Saturday. And so emotionally, when people say like, can you get emotionally ready or whatever, I'm like, well, we get 12 of them, and you work all year for 12 guaranteed regular season games, and I don't know how you don't get emotionally charged up for all of them. The component of Darian's return, I get, was a big storyline, and really for us, I took it head on. I said, guys, last week I shared this with y'all on Tuesday. I said, guys, this is not one player on their team versus our team. This is Tulane versus Duke. Now, that one player on their team that wasn't our team happens to be pretty critical because he's the quarterback. And so we need to really have a plan for how we're going to play against that player. And there was, I'm sure, some added incentive because there is naturally going to be with some of the guys that knew him. But we have 60 guys out of 116 on our team that never played with Darian, that don't know, like have no relationship. We do have a lot of guys that do have a relationship with him. And so, I love him, care about him. The emotional stuff, though, man, you got to be emotionally ready to play every game. They're hard. These are hard-fought wins. They're not easy to go by.
To that point, what were you able to do, especially like early in the game, to like frustrate him and kind of to keep him off?
Yeah, it's funny about the way he plays. You don't really feel like you can frustrate him because he's really, I call it, when he played here, I called it California cool. He's from San Luis Obispo. And I used to say, man, he's got California cool. Like, he doesn't get rattled really very easily. But I do think there were some things we had in the plan that we knew could maybe take away where they had been so good coming into our game was just explosive plays, like shot plays, chunk plays. They had a couple tonight, but we didn't give up shot touchdown plays. And so that was a big component, was like making them have to drive the football. And then we had a couple of things that we felt like we could maybe dictate some pass rush stuff, directional things, how we felt like we could maybe help give ourselves a better position to maybe attack what they did and what maybe their strengths were.
And you mentioned that Retzloff was athletic, but, for him to score 4 touchdowns tonight on the ground, I mean, just can you speak to how effective he was with his legs?
Yeah, we're getting ready to move to a triple option offense, all right? So, he's great as a runner. Him and Brendan really both. And Brendan didn't play a ton. I know he only played a couple snaps in the game, but like both of them are elite athletes, and that is a different dimension to our offense than what we did last year. Last year, we didn't do a whole lot of design quarterback run. This year, there's more design quarterback run. There's also more like the option for them to keep it off of some zone read stuff. And then the scramble stuff, I think, our guys that we're playing with right now, Jake, and then even Brendan, if he's back there ever, both those guys have the ability to tuck it and go if it ain't there and a throw, and they're going to go get 10, 12, 15 yards in the run. Well, I mean, game one, Jake got 69 on a run, right? So, like, those guys have the ability to beat you with your legs. I thought our pass game was a little bit cleaner tonight than it's been. We were 17 of 25 throwing the football for 270. I've been waiting on that. In the first 2 weeks, we hadn't been there. We kind of have just been a little off timing and rhythm, and just, and Jake has been here for like a whole month and a half. And so, like him understanding like how he's throwing a certain ball to a certain receiver based upon their speed or their size or their catch radius and those sort of things, that takes a little bit of timing to know your personnel. We call it KYP, know your personnel.
Coach, of course, Retzloff is going to be the headliner in this one, but maybe the unsung heroes of your offensive line. Can you just kind of talk about their play?
Yeah, I thought they played really good in some spots. I didn't love the way we finished the game up there because I thought we could have closed it out with having to give them the ball back. But I thought those guys did some really good things. Their defensive front, I was worried about position group-wise from them, their receivers and their defensive front. And I thought, we really kind of offset some of their strength with that. I mean, 156 yards rushing, not a ton of quarterback pressure was felt. And I just thought they played clean for the most part. There was, like I said, that end of the game 4-minute drill, I would have liked for us to play a little cleaner. I thought we could have finished with the ball in our hands instead of giving it back to them. They made a really good decision, I thought, to kick the field goal there. That was smart. That was good coaching by them. But, we did some good things on the O-line. Still got a lot. We can get a lot better though. We're not a finished product in any area.
So they had cut it to 24-16 in the third quarter. You faced a 4th and 2, and I think a little less than 2 at your own 45. You called timeout, sent the offense back on the field. Was that an easy decision to go for it there? And then obviously a few plays later, Jake got the first down. And then you got
those aren't easy decisions. The book, the analytics tell you to go there, but the book, man, I don't go just by it. I listen to it. Tyler Kelly is a young guy on our staff. He's an analyst for us who does a phenomenal job. I want to give him a ton of credit. All our 4th down decisions, he's got the book upstairs. He's like, I'm getting information from him about, hey, what down and distance is it to go on 4th down and yard line, et cetera, before the drive. And he's been a rock star this year, helping us with that. Not an easy decision. I felt like it was a critical part of the game. I didn't really want to give him the ball back after we'd fumbled it, gave it to them. They went and scored, cut it to 8. And Jake, my fault probably after he had the fumble, I told him, hey, it's okay to slide.
Yeah.
and then he goes and slides like a 2 yards short of the first down. And then after that play, I said, it's okay to get the first down and then slide. Like we can get first downs first.
Yeah.
But what I really wanted to figure out, we knew the formation. We wanted to send the formation back out, take a look at how they aligned. We wanted to have a pass or a run option based upon the picture they showed. And then we could also have Jake look over and thumbs down it and take a delay game and punt it if we didn't like any of it. So we were going back out with 3 things that could happen. Could be a pass, could be a run based upon the picture they presented, or it could be a thumbs down, take a delay and punt it because we don't feel good about either. And we got the picture. We felt like we could go get the run. It got a little muggy there for a second, got a little jammed up, and then he found a way to kind of fight through and get the yardage we needed.
Your thoughts on Joe Craddock's play calling? There were you guys pulled out some new plays, and they all seemed to work in the first half.
Man, they were working good. Joe does a great job. Our offensive staff does a great job, man. I've been so blessed to have Joe with me for the entire time I've been a head coach. And Joe's been in that hot seat before, like a lot of times, Joe was the youngest offensive coordinator in America at one time at SMU, and then he went to Arkansas, and they had a bad go, and then he's been with me the whole time I've been a head coach, and Joe works his tail off. Like he spends a ton of time game planning and thinking about how to make our offense successful. We've got a great offensive staff, Evan McKissick and Will Hall and Carter Sheridan and Brock Hayes, all those guys and all the analysts, man, they do a great job. And then Joe's just got a good flow and good rhythm. He understands like the kind of maybe the situation of what they're trying to do and the flow of the game. And I thought he called a really good game. I thought he called a good game early in the second half. Still, we just didn't execute some of it great. Sometimes you can call the right play and it just didn't get executed well. But I thought he had a really good balance, just kind of keeping them off. Some of that was some quarterback run stuff that Jake did, but thought Joe did a nice job, and he always does. He's a really good football coach.
Coach, you had there was a sellout crowd tonight, 30,000.
Man, how did I not start there? Like, how about that?
Yeah.
Like the student section was freaking awesome, and it was loud. Like the effect of the game, they had 2 false starts on a field goal. All right, that was the crowd. That wasn't us. That was the crowd, right? And they ended up not making that kick. Well, that was a pretty big part of the game. So I should have started there with my opening remarks. So, like, thank you to everybody that came. And, man, we need that environment all the time. Like, why wouldn't we? You know what I mean? Like, you got a really good football team here. I think we got a great venue, a great stadium. You know, it's a stadium where if you got kids, you can let them run around and have fun. And just thanks to everybody for coming out for that. The crowd was awesome. But going ahead with the question, I should have said that earlier.
No, you basically answered the question already, but I'll go ahead and throw another one at you. How important was this? Obviously, special teams was important, but what went into such a positive impact on the game? Obviously, the crowd, you talked about giving a lot of credit for one of the field goal misses, but there was still the block that happened. You had a fairly, like, other special teams plays looked pretty good, but obviously it was to your advantage throughout the game.
Yeah, TJ Smith, I think, had the block off the edge. I've been waiting because he's shown it in practice to have the ability to bend and turn and go get those. That was a huge play. Our special teams has played pretty clean all year. The one special teams play I didn't love tonight was when out of the halftime we brought the ball out 4 yards deep out of the end zone. I thought that with the flow of the game, that wasn't really the best decision on our part. That was on coaching as much as anything. That was on me. I think through 3 games we've won the special teams battle in all 3 so far, and that's a huge component to our success and our keys to victory each week. And Coach Galante, our special teams coordinator, is doing a great job with that unit. He's really been such a great addition, and we still have Greg McMahon around here sometimes too, helping out. But Galante's really running the show, and he's doing a great job of it.
Hey, John, did you have any special package for their edge rusher, Anthony?
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily a package, but it was more like, hey, this is what he does well. This is maybe not the best part of his game. Let's try to, like, not allow him to do what he does well. You know, like, and so last week he had 3 sacks in the first half against Illinois, and they got a really good football team. And when it's obvious drop back pass situations, that guy's a handful. You know, we felt like maybe we could. Sometimes you have an elite edge rusher, you want to, like, sometimes run it at them. Sometimes you want to, like, maybe trap them from the inside. You want to crack toss them from the outside. You kind of want them to be off balance, like, okay, who's coming to block me? Where am I going to get hit from? And so there were some things we felt like we needed to do to try to maybe offset his ability to kind of just be a designated pass rush type mindset player. So it was more about, like, maybe some things we did within the play calls. It wasn't maybe a package as much as, like, okay, we wanted to always know where he was. Like, it was always, all right, see the field, see the boundaries, left, right. Like, that was a huge component to what we were trying to get done.
You alluded to the schedule and what you have to face next week. Do you almost relish the opportunity because of how the game ended last week and how the game ended this week? I hate to use the term like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
But is a teaching moment or a wake-up call? Because that probably can't happen next week.
Yeah, it can't happen next week at all. Like, next week's going to be, we're playing a top 15 team probably, I would guess, what they'll be when we play them. Last week, we you know, the frustrating part was we started the game really slow and we kind of finished it sloppy. And for 44 minutes, we went on a 33-3 run. This week, we really just we didn't play detailed on a couple of critical plays. You know, the touchdown before the half, Darian scrambling, and we don't plaster in coverage. We get our eyes in the backfield in the secondary, and we see him running, and we think, okay, we freeze and we lose a receiver. That's all it was. Really, really simple thing to execute, but also a really simple thing to screw up like we did. And then the same type of thing on the 4th down conversion. I think it was 4th and 14, and they converted. Same type deal. We started to move, and that was one of the things we had preached all week was Darian, you know, as a player is more of a move to still throw the football guy. We're like right now we're playing a game with Jake, and Jake has no problem moving to go run and get a huge gain with his legs. Darian really doesn't run to run a lot, and so we were trying to get everybody to stay back in coverage. We had a couple of critical mistakes there. They're a good football team. You know, like if they don't go -5 last week in the turnover margin, that game's a 1-score game at the end with Illinois. And so I knew they were going to make a run. We have to do a better job of, like, the wave don't beat the wave, right? Like, make them beat us, don't beat ourselves. We beat ourselves some tonight. If we beat ourselves at all next week, it'll get ugly. Like, that team, we're going to look across the field and see some dudes that, like, they're real, you know. And so we got to be really, really polished and extremely detailed with how we're executing.
Coach, you talk a lot about the culture and the character of a team and how it kind of shapes itself before and during the season. Where do you think that is right now, and is it at a place that you're happy with today, or is it somewhere that you think you want to see continue to grow?
Well, it's got to continue to grow. You're either always getting better or you're getting worse. It never stops, right? And so anybody that says it's just the same every day is doesn't understand that you either are growing or you're not growing. And we have to continue to grow. We're going to coach these guys hard this week about the things we have to clean up. When your character really gets tested during adversity. We've had in-game adversity. We haven't had a loss yet. Last week we got our character tested a little bit when we were down 14-0. And we talk a lot about what is your foundation? What are you built on as a team? What are you built on as a man? What are you committed to? And our core values in our program, you guys hear me say them all the time, attitude, toughness, discipline, and love. Those just aren't just words on the wall. We define them, we live them, and make sure our guys really touch them and they come to life. And, character is something you have to fight for every day. And the hardest part of this day and age is 60 new players, over 50% of your locker room, but yet you want the culture and the standards and the norms of your program to stay the same, and you're having to retrain so many people every year. That's a really challenging job, but when you bring new people in, they have to conform to how we're going to do things because the standards are the standards and they do not change.
You had a moment with Mensah after the game.
Yeah.
What was your message to him, and how good was it to just be able to embrace him after the game?
Yeah, I saw Darian this summer. Colin D'Angelo, our quarterbacks analyst, he coaches the quarterbacks with Coach Craig, does a great job for us. Colin got married this summer, and so I went to Manning Passing Academy to see Archie and those guys, and Darian was one of the college quarterbacks at the camp. So I spent a little time with him there, and and got to see Coach Gruden there, which was fun. And then that night got to see him at the wedding, and I probably spent the most time at the wedding with Darian, Coach O, and my wife that night. And they were all fun, but different kinds of fun. And so in that night, I got to spend a lot of quality time with him. Just tell him, hey, look, man, I love you. There's a lot of bad blood, animosity, hype, whatever from certain people. I get it. I understand. That's real. But if I coach a guy 1 play, 100 plays, 1,000 plays, like I said on Tuesday when y'all came, for the rest of my life, if they ever need anything, I'm a phone call away. Now, did I desire last December for Darian to leave? No, we did not kick him off our team. I tried to get him to stay. I just didn't have the checkbook to do it, right? And I ain't mad at that. Hey, you got whatever he got paid, good for him, man. I think he probably makes more money than anybody I know, including myself. So I'm not mad at him. I know this, our whole team doesn't make, I don't think, what he makes. So I ain't really critical of what he did. I love him. I care about him. I'm for him. I hope he wins every game the rest of the way. I do. I want him to win last week. Anytime we play him, I want him to lose. I want him to lose as bad as we can beat him. All right, so we play him again next year. I think they're on our non-conference schedule. I want to win that game. I want to win tonight. Glad we won tonight. We're going to celebrate it. We'll be back to work tomorrow. Thank you all.